Hello, family. How you doing? Welcome back to another episode of the Big Classic Podcast.
There you go.
How you doing? My co-host Walter Sellers.
Hello.
And Rashad Scott. And we have two special guests. You know, the man, my partner. They call him the We Train Different guy, G Hunter, and special guest, Mr. Kyle Smith, world-renowned trainer. Been training IFBB pros and doing their training. He's been working with up-and-coming superstar Carlos Thomas. So it's a great pleasure to have him. And most importantly, him and I started working together back in 2012 and when Kyle was just a youngin' in this game, and now he's blown up, doing his thing, working with clients around the world. Big in Milo's camp, has worked with the likes of everybody from, like I said, Carlos Thompson to Nick Walker. So it's a pleasure to have him on the podcast. So what's up, fellas?
What's going on, man?
What's going on?
So, a little bit of housekeeping first.
Yes.
The Renaissance Transformation Contest. Sign up now. Pre-registration ends on March 31st. So get it in. Link is below. Click the link, sign up, join us, and go see Queen Bee. 2 tickets.
It's exciting. It's an exciting time to be able to have the opportunity to see Queen Bee for only $79.
Facts.
So, you know, and you know, like I had this kid today, he walks up to me and goes, Fred, that shreddum is fire. Makes me sweat like crazy. He's not hungry as often. And his mood, because of what we have in there for the mood enhancement, is he's just even-keeled, feels high energy, even-keeled, not sporadic, not feeling grumpy from the diet as often. So it's a great fat burner. We really took care of everything in it, dotted the I's, crossed the T's, and made sure that it's not just a matter of, you know, you got energy and feel terrible. You got energy. We make sure that you have a fat blocker in there. You have insulin management properties in there. So everything's in there to make sure that you can actually use it, get lean, burn fat, and feel great while doing it.
Facts.
So, actually, Kyle's tried the RMR before, right?
Yeah, that's really good, actually.
Yeah, you said you liked it. What are some of the things you liked about it?
The fact that your recovery between sets is awesome. I noticed that nice fatigue as you're going through your top sets. But in between exercise to exercise, I'm not so fatigued. I actually manage my fatigue. The pumps are awesome. Hydration's good. So, yeah, it's really good.
That's coming from a guy who would recommend it to any of his clients. So, we already know we love it. We recommend it to our clients. G's been moving it at his salon for a couple years now and never had a complaint. So, definitely, if you have not checked out itsrealbig.com, do it. Rashad, he loves it for his clients. These are all, you know, you got 4 professional trainers working with hundreds and hundreds of clients at all levels, from, you know, top politicians to top bodybuilders to top athletes, and we all love the product. And, you know, so give it a try. You got nothing to lose, everything to gain.
And coming soon, we have a very special announcement about big sports and who we're partnering with. Stay tuned for that big epic release coming up in the next 2 to 3 weeks. It's gonna change the game for us and hopefully for you. So yeah, it's gonna be good.
Yes, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Just waiting.
Cannot wait to be able to announce that. Yeah. So, what's up, G? What's going on in your world, man? Not the filth.
Not the filth. Censored TV.
Is that covering his face, that whiteboard now? You see it? Okay.
You guys can see my face, right? So,
That glare in the front though.
a little sweat there. Not much though, man. Just training, training, stepping it up a notch. First killing me with the legs and each exercise that we do each week. I think the better I get, the harder these exercises become. I think in a few weeks we're going to change up on our diets and all that stuff, right?
You got to send me some updates.
I have.
Oh, yeah.
You want to argue on?
You haven't sent me an update?
I have, bro.
When?
Last week.
You didn't send me nothing.
Check your phone. We'll do that another time.
But you're sending them tomorrow morning. Did you send them today?
I sent them last week.
And I told you to follow for a week, and you
You know, I did not. You did not.
You
That
didn't
was
follow
week
for a
one.
week?
That was I did, and then this was week 2 that I sent my update.
Right, and you said, what kind of diet am I going to do? And I'm like, what am I, I'm guessing?
I mean, if you want me back for the whole conversation,
I mean, look, Rich, send the pictures in the morning.
I just want everybody.
Well, just to let you know, I've been up since 2 a.m. and I've been painting
Been
all
moving,
day.
so he's hot carrying
So,
fluid.
if you want me,
Right, he's carrying
This is-
no,
fluid.
it's not the diet. I follow the diet. I'm talking about my cortisol levels are going to be high, so I'm going to be very inflammation high today.
Yes,
So if
you're
I send those
inflamed.
pictures, if I'm inflamed,
You're not
I
rested.
send those updates
This-
in.
You're not
tomorrow,
well
it will look
rested.
like shit.
This is why he shred fucking smalls. Like, bro, I sent them to you. You said, these look good. We'll work on some stuff, and I got you. That was it. And
I
then the
didn't
next,
say that.
you did.
I don't remember saying
And then you know what you'll say? You should have reminded me. I got I got a whole lot of stuff going on, so you didn't remind me. So that's what's going on right now. He knows it too. Because he's like, he says that.
Yeah, that's what he
all the
says.
time, man. I'm like, what? Then you just walk out of the
No,
room
I
like,
don't
oh,
want to hear anything out of you because when you were close to your competition, that you didn't even do,
Damn.
Yikes.
how long did you really
Zing.
have to wait for an update?
yeah, I didn't have to wait.
Did you have to wait for an update when you're close?
Especially when you're close.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
See?
In fact, he'll be calling you at 5 a.m.
Yes, where is
Like,
the
yo,
update?
where's the fucking update?
That's
It's
it.
5:03. You don't be sending to
That's it.
5:01.
That level of urgency. That, you know.
Yeah.
But if I tell you it looks good, it looks good.
Yeah.
You know, like the diet doesn't have to be changed. And with you, that lamb is doing good for you. So you just
Oh, shit.
I got some in the car right now.
I think that's the misconception, though. You know, like, and I'm sure you get it too. Like when you're doing somebody's diet, I'll get this. They'll send me pictures. They're down 3 pounds, and I'll be like, "Oh, that looks good." What am I going to change the diet to? Well, we don't need to change the diet. The diet's working. What are we going to change it to? What do you want me to just change it to change it? You know, if you want me to change the food, tell me. Fred, I'm tired of this food. Can you change it? And I'll change it. I'm not an asshole like some coaches, like, I'll just eat it anyway. I will change it because you know what? I'm a guy who likes variety too. But if you tell me the food's good and everything's great, what do you? I mean, you've seen Ann in here last week. She's changing beautifully, right?
Yeah.
And literally for 6 weeks I didn't change her diet, but it's because every week like clockwork, it was moving 2 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
2 pounds. So we look at it and I'm like, all right. And we did the exact same food for 6 weeks. Then she sent me and I didn't like the way she looked. Still dropped 2 pounds, but I didn't like the look. So I was like, all right, we need to change a couple things. Bam. Next day she sends me pics again. I like the look. All right, let's ride it out. So I used to early on when I was prepping people try and change everything because I felt like you got to change it every week. But I've realized that sometimes less is more.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes
True.
the body,
Very true.
when it's in a rhythm, you know, because the crazy thing about dieting, and correct me if you go against this at all, the crazy thing about dieting is this: it'll take forever to get going. Like you'll change it, you'll drop 10%, you drop 10%, up cardio 10%, you know, mess with a supplement, add a supplement in, and it's like you get these small changes, and all of a sudden, bam, it'll kick in, and you have to do nothing different, and your body just starts zooming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And at that point, you're almost like, oh shit, okay, let me pull back a little bit. Let me take a little cardio out, let me add a little food in, and it just keeps getting faster and faster, because once you get your body assimilating those nutrients faster, the metabolism's running faster, and basically your resting metabolism just running faster all the time. So you're burning more calories at rest,
Mm-hmm.
and everything's moving properly. The digestion is beautiful.
Yeah.
You just keep dropping fat, fast, and it's not even like you have to work harder. Your body's just in the rhythm. And as long as you don't fuck it up by cheating, that's big. That's big. As long as you don't mess it up by cheating.
Yeah, I saw a plate on his IG the other day. Did you see that?
My man is
No,
not
you
dieting
don't.
right now. He is enjoying. We got cheesecake yesterday.
Oh
And
man.
this fucker looked at the plate like, I know I shouldn't still be eating this, but God, it's good. Oh man, maybe I
Good
should
job,
stop.
G.
Maybe we should stop. Come on, Fred.
So, you know, I think that's one of the key differences between prepping someone for a show and helping them for a lifestyle, right? You know, part of what I do is lifestyle changing, not really focusing on bodybuilding shows and things like that. So getting folks to look at their macros and realize the difference in what they need can change
Right.
every week as
Right.
long as they fall within the program.
Right.
You know, it helps a lot of my clients have a little bit of freedom. Now, if they're going to go out to dinner with their friends or their family, of course, they always email me or text me first. Hey, Walter, we're going here. Here's the menu. What can I have?
Right.
You know, then I can
Oh,
give them
yeah,
specific
for sure,
instructions around
I
that.
get that. I get
But beyond that, for a lifestyle client, it's never that stringent. It's are we close? Are we at the macros that I set you up for the day?
Right.
That's the key. If you like shrimp instead of having chicken breast, okay, great. Just add a tablespoon olive oil or whatever it is. But we got to make sure we get the macros to fall in the right way. So you know.
Yeah. I mean, how do you treat your lifestyle people?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the same way. I mean, at the end of the day, they're not restricted because they're not trying to prep for a show where there's a time frame. So I let them fall into about 0.5 to 1% of body fat mass loss per week, and they're moving in the right direction. I might adjust their food selections, but I never would adjust the macros unless it's needed. But most of the time, it's a matter of them getting better food behavior and to keep their adherence up to par, and then make sure they feel that they're being held accountable, so that they're making the right decisions when they do go out. They send you, like I said, like the menu of their restaurant they're at, make adjustments to, like, okay, so instead of doing fried food, you're going to do baked, you know what I mean, stuff like that, and make sure you ask them no margarine. You have grass-fed butter, use that. Don't have that there. Don't do that at all. I mean, little minor things, and that way they can enjoy themselves with family and friends, and still manage to succeed in their fat loss journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that's what.
Remember that?
What are you gonna say?
Something just came to my mind, right? Remember when I was in my prep and I came to you and I said, Fred, I ate a cookie, but I parked at the other end of Main Street, did my cardio, I walk into Insomnia Cookies,
Not the same
ate the
thing.
cookie on my way back.
Not the same.
So it was like about
Did you hear the? Did you hear the main thing he said?
I heard what he
There's
said,
not
but-
a time frame.
Right, I get it.
Like that's the problem.
That plus people think so. Like, instead of eat a cookie, you don't do cardio and burn calories from this. You burn prior energy. It's
First in, first out. FIFO, like food service, right?
It's funny as shit.
Yeah, but that's what I did. I was like, you know.
Yeah, it
what?
sounds good. I get it. It sounds
It
good.
worked.
I
Math
burned
works.
this much calories. So okay, cool. I'm gonna go get this insomnia
That's not
cookie,
even
which is
hitting
this
you.
much calories. And then by the time I stepped out the door, the cookie was gone. I don't know how I devoured the cookie. Then walking back to the car on the other end of Main Street, I'm like, all right, so I just burned this shit off. So is it the same? You know what I'm saying?
So how do you calculate that you burn off like 480 calories right there?
Oh well, I have this right here, and it tells me how many calories it took.
That's I don't know.
It was like 30-minute walk. Boom, boom. So,
Definitely didn't burn 480 calories.
well, it wasn't that cookie wasn't 480 calories.
Bet you was.
What much was it?
150 calories. I got
No,
like
was it?
yeah.
Really?
I got a
Because
good.
you got the smaller one.
I got like a vegan cookie, and it just tasted like
So
the
because it was
best.
vegan, it was less calories.
It
I've
had-
seen pretty
yes.
fat vegan people,
I've seen a
bro.
lot of.
Yes,
Yeah.
but they don't do anything.
Yeah.
They just figure they eat healthy,
So
and they just.
what I was gonna say before the insomnia cookie. idea, this is why.
Cookie.
Look, and so I had a guy today. He said to me, Fred, I don't really want to eat this. I don't really want to eat that. And he's just a lifestyle guy. And he's getting stronger. He's in the gym. He's progressing really well. But his diet hasn't progressed that well. And I said, you know what? At this point, as long as you're going to adhere to it, I'll make whatever change you want. Because at the end of the day, it can be the best diet in the world. But if you're not going to adhere to it, it doesn't fucking matter. So it's all about the best nutrition program is the one you're going to adhere to. So when you're a lifestyle person, it's got to be something that anything can work. The thing like the fit your macros, I don't not believe in fit your macros. I don't believe in it for contest dieting. I've never seen somebody who does fit your macros who it maintains all their muscle, right? Because a calorie is not a calorie. Nutrient partitioning is important. And different foods assimilate different in your body. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so you can't tell me a golden gram is going to work the same as a sweet potato. It just does not. We've eaten golden grams and felt like shit an hour later. You've eaten sweet potatoes, eat way too much sweet potatoes, and you feel great. Like, it doesn't absorb and break down the seam. But for the person who's trying to lose weight, doesn't matter how they look, they're just trying to lose weight and be thinner, it can work. It can work. Because at that point, you're not trying to maintain a certain amount of lean body mass. You're just trying to get
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's important for me. Like, if you want to be lean forever, you got to maintain your muscle mass.
Mm-hmm.
But in the grand scheme of things, if I'm trying to lose 30 pounds so I can fit in a new pair of jeans, or 30 pounds so I can look presentable at the wedding, it doesn't matter if I maintain all 10 pounds of muscle.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. So fit your macros is going to work beautifully because you're eating,
Mm-hmm.
you're creating better habits, and you're getting more. You're not starving yourself, basically, right? So it will work. But the problem that people get crossed up on is they try and get ready for a contest, and they go, well, if I have this, I can get away with it. No, you screwed up the whole the whole process. The whole process, because nutrient timing does matter.
Mm-hmm.
It does matter. And I know there's a lot of people that say it doesn't, but again, I've never seen anybody big do fit your macros. And if you disagree with me, show me somebody. Haven't seen anybody at the Olympia level doing fit your macros. And don't tell me, oh, I'm not trying to be at the Olympia level, because if you're trying to do the sport, you're trying to win.
100%.
Nobody is doing a 16-week diet to get on stage and just feel the experience.
So tell me the difference between working enhanced versus working unenhanced. Natural bodybuilders versus enhanced bodybuilders.
Oh man, wow.
Is that different as far as the nutrient requirements? Meaning the nutrient partitioning you were just describing. Do you think that the effect is different in enhanced versus unenhanced?
Go ahead. You
All
want
right,
to
I'm gonna say yes. It does make a difference. I'll tell you why. Not to steer off too far on pharmacology, but
Right.
when you're taking PEDs, if that's what they're doing, you're manipulating your hormones and different cascades that happen inside your body through physiology. So,
Right.
you're from a thermodynamics perspective and from protein synthesis perspective, there's so many loopholes you're going through where you can get away with certain things and some that you can't get away with.
Right.
So, like someone who's enhanced, I mean, their body can assimilate nutrients more efficiently because the mitochondrial cells are more exposed to many things from free radicals through also what they're using. So, in that aspect,
Hold on. Basically, it means that we can transfer energy a lot faster.
My
So,
fault.
go ahead. Keep
Yeah,
going.
So what you said. So, in that case, you have a little more variety of options for the testing your training, cardio, and obviously, far as reserving skeletal muscle mass, body driving fat metabolism. When you're a natural athlete, you're kind of not saying you're limited, but you have to really prioritize recovery ability, because when it comes to the training aspect and you're trying to train like an animal, you're doing so many working sets and your recovery starts to diminish, and then you don't know is it from the lack of food, is it from the intensity of your training, so many factors involved, so you really have to prioritize a structure where it's like, okay, so if we train 5 days a week, this is the expectations for working sets. If you're eating in a deficit, obviously we won't probably start at 10% of a deficit from your maintenance and work our way through that. Many ways to go about it, but for us saying, is there a difference? Absolutely. That's a little scheme of how I would break it down and explain it.
Right. I mean, you're
Try not
100% right. Now, talking from a guy who's experienced both sides of it, what I would say is this. When you're enhanced, you still have to train every bit as hard as when you're not enhanced, right? And the reason why is because they expect you to look a whole lot freakier when you're
100%.
enhanced.
Yeah,
okay.
100%.
But what ends up happening is you can get away with training 7 days straight and still being able to recover. When you're a natty, you do 7 days straight without any breaks.
Good luck.
You string yourself out.
Yeah.
Your body's not going to recover. You'll find yourself either, if you're not injured, you're lack intensity when you train. And the food, like just by doing a couple different hormones, you can eat a whole lot more. So to say 500 extra calories a day, that's minimizing how much more you can consume once you really get it going. So from that aspect, that's why, as a natural athlete, it's so much harder to compete with someone who's enhanced. And the muscle looks different, but then the red blood cell count increases too. So the fullness, the amount of oxygen to the muscle, everything increases. So if your nutrient intake is higher, your rate of oxygen you're getting is higher. That means I can train harder, recover faster. It's a whole different dynamic. Now, what ends up happening is, if you have somebody who doesn't understand that and they underfeed you, you end up looking stringy as an enhanced athlete too, right? Because you're not feeding the advantage, right? So it's important that when you're working with somebody, they have a full understanding. And I know this because I made mistakes in the beginning when I was the natty and didn't understand it, and I was trying to train people that were enhanced. They really weren't looking like they were enhanced. They come in and they would look, a little fuller, but we didn't get that crazy, freaky look that you're supposed to get from it, right? So it's a magic pill in the sense that everything your body naturally does, you're going to do it on a super physiological level. Would you say that's about right?
Yeah.
But you still cannot shortcut the work.
Right.
Your discipline has to be 100%, and the training has to be 100%. And the training can be actually harder because you recover from it. So, and I think if you can understand that, then you're getting the most out of it. To think you're going to go and jump over, which is a lot of people's mistake. They think they're going to jump over and everything's going to be easier. No. It actually should be harder because you can recover from it.
Sure.
But like I've done both, and people say, well, it's hard as a natural. No. It's just, the results are different. The results are different. Like, as a natural, if you look fat at 12 weeks, we got problems. As enhanced, you can look fat at 8 weeks, and if we do the right cocktails, we might pull it together. So that's the difference,
That's important distinction.
Yeah.
That's
Anything to add, sir?
Not a damn.
That man is playing Gallica. I see.
Actually, I'm doing diets. Good Avengers reference.
Yeah. See, that's my shit. Speaking of, have any of y'all watched Godfather of Harlem?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't watched
This episode where Malcolm just got killed.
Yeah.
Damn,
Bro, you just
spoilers,
spoiler
bro.
alert.
Oh, okay. It's historical facts. It ain't like it's hard to know.
Yeah, but you know what? When I was watching it, my girlfriend looked at February 21st, 1965. I said, oh, why'd they put the date up?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But most people would. But most people that aren't historically binded to it would. I looked at it, I was like, oh snap, is this for real? And I'm trying to look up the time because I'm watching it with.
Yeah,
like
you know it's coming.
I know it's coming. Yeah, but
They actually did it. They did a very.
It was
very
great.
Good. It was a great.
It was great. Like, if you guys are not watching this show, Godfather of Harlem, you need to take the time to watch it. White, black, Chinese, you will appreciate what's going on in this story, man. In Latino, sorry.
As we say, you're just gonna leave out the
No, Latino, But the acting is amazing. The storylines are great, and it's actually based on true facts. So it's kind of cool to see the history that happened in there and how Bumpy Johnson and the Italians work together. It's
how Bumpy
great.
Johnson and Malcolm X formed a bond that transcended the streets.
Sure.
As Malcolm X was Malcolm Little. He was a street hustler.
Yeah.
Went to jail, got out of jail, cleaned his life up, and Bumpy Johnson literally protected that man. And it was a phenomenal story.
Now, was that the finale last night, or we still got more episodes?
I think there's one more episode left.
Yeah, that thing is amazing.
Man, I'm gonna watch Avatar tonight, midnight when it comes out, part 2.
Avatar.
Okay, 328, yeah, because
Okay,
on the
well,
midnight. Yeah, you're right. On mid Disney Plus, that's right.
Back to the
Watch
children's
it.
part of the series. Like, what?
But that's definitely a great
My man's like,
great series.
it is. Like, I'm one that I don't watch. I try not to watch reruns because I just don't have time for that kind of stuff. But my best friend over here, he'll watch the same thing over and over.
Yeah, I'm like, why are you watching that?
Yeah, you've already seen it.
I'm like, I'm watching Sanford and Son.
Like,
What
yeah,
episode are you on?
there's
I'm
no
on the
value.
199th episode, but I've seen it like 39 times.
You can't get that time back, bro. Like, it's bad enough we're watching any TV because they're making money and we're not. But at least watch something new.
I try to do that.
But
I try, especially when it comes to movies.
But
But sometimes when I need to go to sleep, keeps me from eating cookies, so I watch Sanford and Son. I'll watch
Cookies and milk. What you Bernie Mac? Cookies and milk.
some Oreo cookies, and I eat them. I'll make them real
He can have
soggy.
cookies and milk.
And I know everybody out here dips a cookie in the milk till it gets soft, and then you eat it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm double stuff.
How many have
So-
last
The
night?
whole pack.
See, you had a whole pack
No,
last
not
night,
last
bro.
night.
I asked Lonnie what you had last night. He said a
I
whole
don't have any.
pack.
I don't.
That's your boy, yeah.
Nah, 'cause I had the damn cheesecake that he
Oh,
had.
okay.
So I made the Bernie Mac reference, right? So me and Kyle used to train
Ah.
together.
Win the cookies and
Train
shit.
together faithfully. I mean, like what, 3-4 years we used to train together, right? And Kyle would train with me, and I mean, he was an amazing partner. When I won Dallas, Kyle was my main partner.
Land the plane. Get to the story.
Bitch, you don't even know what I'm getting ready to say.
You want me to ruin the story for
Yes,
you?
ruin it.
Continue?
Say what you're gonna
Where y'all
say,
gonna
Wawa.
watch stand up before y'all
Yeah,
go train.
yeah.
And y'all laugh at Kevin Hart.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? He's like,
yeah.
you know what? Look at Eddie Murphy delirious. This is funny.
Yeah.
And you and Kyle just like,
It's
get it.
not funny. And you realize Kevin Hart was so fast with his delivery.
Yeah.
We watch other stuff like Eddie Murphy. We tried to watch Martin Lawrence. It's just like, this used to be funny.
Bro, we got to train soon.
It used to be funny. And Kyle was like, I mean, fuck that, man. Stop playing. Put Kevin Hart back on. Put Kevin Hart back on.
That was awesome.
Yeah, those are the times, man. We would sit there and we had some killer ass training sessions, which brings me to this question. So I know now you train people differently than how we used to train.
There you go. Still on that.
Okay.
Very wrong.
But but listen,
All right.
listen.
Go
ahead.
So,
Train different.
So I can
so,
correct what you're about to say.
so like,
Hey,
you
Kyle,
know,
you should-
Kyle will
you
tease me
should-
because I'm a volume king, right? So we'll do triple drop, triple quadruple, 6-time drop, you
And I'll
know,
be like, are
for
we
100
done?
reps,
He's
and I'll
like,
be like,
no.
it's too much. But tell them what the flaws you feel is with that.
All right,
now.
so I don't believe there's a bad way. There's no bad training system as long as you're progressing. However, when it comes to tracking progression over time, and where you can manage fatigue or when to go through a deload, which is obviously time to get out of a certain stimulus. But what he's saying is, train hard, train till you can't do that weight no more, do a drop set, and keep going. Many intensifiers, they all work. However, I believe there's many other ways to create an adaptation that could save wear and tear on the body, and you still make great changes. It might not be as fast, but you can actually keep progressing without worrying about doing a deload or need extra day to recover. So I like using different approaches where, I don't want to go too far into it, but so there's many mesocycles you can do with training blocks. So if the goal is building muscle, obviously you need to be in train hypertrophy, which is many ways to go about that. So how we would train, that would be considered mechanical damage-based training stimulus, where you're doing a lot of free weights and you're doing barbell dumbbells really hard in the bottom position. So you take it to failure and you feel on the bottom. Then you do a drop set where you drive a lot of metabolic work in that aspect of the volume side.
So hold on. So let me. So mesocycle is going to be. So we have. If we're taking a year, the mesocycle is going to be about 12 weeks, right? Where the microcycle will be like 4 weeks inside of that.
Right. You're right.
Good.
So
and what he's saying is we fail at the bottom. So basically, in the full eccentric, we're failing, as opposed to where he's creating different nuances to fail at different portions in the movement. So not quite all the way at the lengthening, maybe sometimes in the shortening. Right.
But you can actually structure a training block specifically for that. So if I'm trying to get somebody to grow a lot of tissue, you're going to create a lower thrust motor units by doing free weights, which is why I do put them in there. It just from a safety perspective, I'm not going to do anything under 6 reps with a barbell, as far as a press.
Right, because see, things like this pec tear might happen when you're trying to go for singles, which I openly admit, when I tore my pec, it was not smart training. I was training angry. I was training with emotion and not from a standpoint of as they tell you, I was training instinctual, which I think is garbage. You should definitely have a plan, because when you don't have a plan, you do things that are reckless. Sometimes you just get in there and you feel it that day, and when you're dealing with a body who's been training for a long period of time, you're definitely more susceptible to injury doing that way. So he's saying, plan it out.
Yes, sir. Plan it out, have structure, and then so for me, I do a lot of programs for a lot of professional bodybuilders where they need to buy specific muscle groups in their training, which means that focus on, like, say it might be their pecs or it might be their lats or their upper back, wherever it is. So so what I do is I try to structure a training program that's going to drive the adaptation we're looking for within their physique. So what I'm trying to look at is, okay, what have you been doing in the past? Most people who tend to have really big ass arms, I'll use Carlos for example, has really big arms. So when I see his previous back training history, all the row moves he was doing was really working his brachialis, a lot of rear delt involved, some upper back, but not much of his lats. So once I made adjustments, the way how we maneuver his biomechanics on a certain machine to get more out of the lats, it would take more tension off the arm and use that as a lever guide to drive through his lats. He made progression that way. However, I will always end with like 1 or 2 compound movements where you need to go balls to the walls, and you have to really worry about like over focus on a concentric or the eccentric. Just fucking move the weight heavy within the given rep range, because we already did the prior neurological movements first, where we are worried about, be concerned about the execution being on point.
Right.
But so about time. If he's onto a barbell row at the end of the session, we know bend over, make sure you touch the pedal to the ground, and draw the bar right into the belly button, draw the elbows back, squeeze hard as you can, and reps you can't do it no more with a given rep range. You don't have to worry about pausing or doing anything crazy, because by that point he's already been beat up through the prior exercises. So I'll take advantage of the compound lift. Yeah.
So he's doing, so in essence,
He's like, this
really,
motherfucker over here talking crazy
he is
shit.
No,
really,
actually, look,
it's great.
This is great
he
stuff.
is really working the pre-exhaust method in order to create neurological adaptation before he goes into the movements that require multiple muscles to work synergistically, right? So by doing that, he's making sure that you are driving the force where it's supposed to be, because very easily, if we do a underhand lat pull down, if you're not paying attention to driving through the motion that you want, where your elbow's driving into the hip or your elbow's driving a little higher, you'll sit there and be working a lot of rear delt, a lot of bicep, and not even hitting the lower lats and the area that you're trying to work for. So it's very important that you know what you're trying to attack in that method. Whereas, if you look at a lot of programming out there, it's saying compound movements first, then work into your isolation, and you're saying that's miscued, because how can you focus after you're already exhausted from training everything? So it really is a revolutionary approach compared to what most people are doing, and I've seen some really great results firsthand from doing that. So kudos to you, man. That's a great way of attacking it. And I'm not, obviously what we've done works, but we can. But the thing in this sport is, you always got to be learning, because your body's always adapting, and your body is the same thing that worked 2 years ago ain't gonna work today with the same effectiveness.
Right.
So you got to always be evolving.
Right. One of the biggest takeaways from even any program you're doing that I spend a lot of clients is your work ethic still has to be met. Right. You still got to train intent. I don't care what program you're on, how specific it is. If you're fucking doing you're doing crazy angles, and you know what I mean. So
you're using 20 pounds. What are you doing?
Yeah. So right. So that's one one of the drawbacks with a lot of research that's out right now that everybody can obviously see is how to manage. You can do 6 working sets per session and get the job done, but not many people even know what a true working set even is, because never took it there. Right. But me and Fred, we've done shit where we get numb in the session.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
We know where that threshold is being met or not, right? So I personally believe you need to know what pure overtraining even looks like to know where that fine line is even at. Mm-hmm. And when I say overtraining, I mean doing things where, okay, if I did 8 working sets on a fucking squat, I mean, clearly that's kind of overkill if I did true working sets on there. Right? So when I program 3 all-out working sets, I know how fucking truly take it before I say, okay, I'm done. You know what I mean? So that's where I say a lot of the new information is being misconstrued, because a lot of research there's no context really with it with experienced lifters.
Well, the problem is, you have a young guy in the gym who's only been lifting for 2 years, hasn't really built any considerable mass yet, and yet he's taken an approach where I'm going to do all isolations first, or I'm going to work this muscle from an inferior position, meaning he's not even able to put any power or real strength into it because he's trying to work with cables, or he's trying to work to work to a specific angle. You haven't built enough mass to do that yet. Like, you at least got to build a foundation before you can start to carve it out.
Very 100%.
You know?
100%.
And the things you experience with Carlos, where his arms are getting so big, we're like, let's be real though, he still already had a big back. It's just not big in relation to how huge his legs are, or how big his delts are, or in comparison to his arms. So when he's hitting his lat spreads and all that stuff, that weakness comes out. But it's still, when the average person looking at him, they're still like, God damn, his back's huge. So we're talking about being nitpicky and saying, look, you need to be great at the Olympia level, not just the national level. And that's why he's doing those kind of things. But if you have a person that's fresh off the street, we start with the basics, because you gotta even learn how to connect neurologically to be able to make those things even work.
100%. 100%.
That tells us, boys and girls, that the science of bodybuilding is not just bro science, right?
No.
One of the channels that I watch, shout out to Winning Strength, is Matt Winning. I don't know if you watch him or not. He's a really good powerlifter, and I'm a world record bench holder, and one of the things that he teaches is pre-exhaustion on the accessory muscles before we hit something big. How do you feel about it like that? So, for instance, if we're going to train bench, we'll do some inclined low weight dumbbells, we'll do bands for band flies, and maybe pullovers or cable pullovers before we hit the bench, to pre-exhaust the muscles that are not being used first, like it's not being used for chest primarily. It's burning out your triceps first and burning out your delts, so you're focusing strictly on your
Is this for muscle building or for strength?
It's for powerlifting, right?
Well, so he definitely has that background. I already have that background, but just from learning your own biomechanics, when you fatigue your anterior delt tricep, they're your secondary that person to help support the press.
Right.
So, I mean, maybe it's probably taken a little out of context. I mean, I know people who I seen a guy bench 805 on the bench, and what he did some back pull downs, and then went to the bar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So to open up his scapula, stuff like that. But
to stimulate the antagonist, right?
And the day, powerlifting is about driving hard to the concentric of the lift.
Yes.
So that's where band comes involved, right?
Right.
But as far as fatiguing your delt tricep, I mean, I get what it's trying to say. Is like, okay, well, if we just burn out the secondary, we can really focus on the chest, where you're kind of limiting the amount of load you can use.
That's more of a hypertrophy style training, though, right? Like, not necessarily strength, because if we're trying to be as strong as possible, we need our anterior delts and our triceps to assist in the movement. So I would have to understand the contextual.
Right, same.
I don't like, obviously, if he's a world champion, he knows what he's doing. So I don't understand what his methodology would be, and I can't even assume from a standpoint of powerlifting. I can't even understand how that would work, other than to say, okay, if we get the body used to more work and more overall load, that when it comes to handling higher percentages. Now, what I could see is, if he's trying to create the same level of intensity on the anterior delts and the triceps that you would at 90, 95% without having to go that heavy, maybe that's it.
I can see that. I can see that.
It's one of the days, right? It's like he has a whole, obviously,
we call weight loading.
Exactly. On different days, he'll do different pre-exercises. One of the things for different days is, like you said, the lat pull down. So the days when he goes to 95 to 100%, he'll do lat pull down.
Okay,
so just on different days.
So on his accessory work for the bench, where he's not actually benching but using then he's doing stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, that can make sense, right? Because you're trying to create. I mean, all of powerlifting is, how do I create the level of intensity I'm going to need at my max load?
One load, from one spin.
Throughout the cycle, right? So and as I'm doing that, I get more neurologically more efficient at recruiting those muscle fibers, so I'm firing faster the entire time. Right. So I mean, that makes sense. Okay, I'm actually interested. I'm gonna go check it out.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go check it out.
I'll send you the link.
Yeah. So, G, when you're so in your neck of the woods and you're on your side of the fence, you're coming in, you're training, and you trained for a long time before you met me, right? Recreationally to just so you can be that dude, right? And with the hopes of maybe one day doing a show. What have you noticed different in the training style since we've been doing it more structured over the last couple years as opposed to what you would do on your own? And I don't mean to, I'm not disrespecting what you're doing because those titties are huge. So.
Well, for the most part, I did a lot of calisthenics, push-ups, and all that stuff. A lot of stretching. When I used to go to those other gyms, I would get in hour. Just like you said, I would be on bands. I would be on cables all the time. Compound exercises like bench, squat. I was squatting back then. And doing a lot of back exercises, but it wasn't really structured. I still had my Monday through Friday to where on this day I would do chest, the next day I would do arms, shoulders, and so on. But I used to do chest and tries, back, bis, legs, and shoulders, and then I'll be done for the rest of the week. But they weren't as intense as what I'm doing now. And sometimes I would go in there and just wing it just to say that the muscles got tired and now I can go and I'm cool. And I would, like I said, like most of my training and exercising and things like that came from YouTube or magazines. Prior to YouTube, there were magazines and things. I was like, oh, I'm going to try this. I'm going to follow this bodybuilder, Ronnie Coleman, or I'm going to follow Jay Cutler. And I'm going to see what they do, and then I'm going to mimic that when I go, obviously, to the gym. But obviously, it's not the same intensity level that they're doing. And when I came back to the training center and we started training together, it completely changed my entire thought process, my entire work ethic, and my loads, everything. So my body always kind of stayed the same. You know what I mean? Maybe the following week, 2 weeks, a month, I'll change a little bit. But it wasn't the muscle that was showing or peeking through. It was like I looked kind of fat a little bit, but I still had the muscle. But it didn't look like defined. And it wasn't up until when we trained last year, and you were like, Jay, you yelled out to me, and we're like, you're starting to look like a bodybuilder now. So, and I was like, that's crazy because everybody else sees the same difference. They're like, I remember when you were training before, you looked like just this big, bulky guy. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why do I look like this? And I do a lot of this and a lot of that back then. But now, pushing everything to the max. And then, of course, you know what you're doing. So, me listening to that somewhat, as far as the diet, but training wise, it helped a lot. So, my bench has increased, but really not even focus on whether you can lift heavier or not. It's just a matter of having a heavier load and being able to rep that out to add more muscle mass. Same thing with my back. That's like the strongest thing on my body. And, we max that out every time we train. Legs, same thing. And legs, I trained legs, but I didn't train them like I train them now. Mm-hmm. So, I was like, I don't show my legs as much, so I don't really care. But then, when I started each summer that, the more and more I train, I'm looking at my legs, I'm like, damn, these legs look crazy.
You tip drilling.
Yeah, and then you start seeing memes. You don't really see yourself, so you're on social media, and you see memes like this big bodybuilder up top, cartoon characters, and he's got like straight sticks for legs. Yeah, so I was like, I don't want to look like that. So, I used to hate legs, but now kind of still don't like them. But because they're changing and because of the intensity of the workouts that we do on legs and the workloads that we do, I kind of like them afterwards. You know what I mean? So he fucks me up,
Did you hear me training that guy today? And he's like, he started almost crying on the leg press today. He was like, oh my God. I was
like, no, not me.
No,
that guy
was one of my clients today.
I complained.
I made a crying fight the other day.
He's a competitor.
I'll complain.
He's a competitor. He's getting ready to compete. And people see him in the gym. He's huge up top. Yeah. And he's like, man, I need to start training my legs, and I'm gonna start training chest with you. And I'm like, yeah, I got you. I trained his legs, and this is probably our fourth workout. So, since I'm only getting them once a week, we'll go quad dominant 1 week, hamstring, glute dominant the next. We go back and forth. And, we're still hitting a little bit, but we really crush one side or the other every other week. And, today was a quad dominant day. And he literally almost started crying. And the thing is, it's crazy is, in my mind, the intensity level was dropped because we were doing less weight and I was focusing on more full range, just really driving that full range of motion, getting his foot position right and all that because, sometimes we go so hard that I'm like, all right, you got to really feel and drive through the areas you want to work, right? Like if you're coming down, you can just go boom, boom, boom and squat, or you can come down with a tempo and really feel yourself pushing through your heels to drive through your hamstrings, to drive through your quads at the top, and really feel all the way up to your hip flexors working. That's a different workout. And we did all that, and then after we did all that, then I put him on a leg press. I said, all right, we're just gonna go for it. And when we did the triple drop, my man was done.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Like, please don't make me do no more.
I was like that last week, though.
I had a lady crying on the gym floor the other day. She was crying.
You
Yeah.
had a
But-
lady crying on
Crying, bruh.
What you like?
You proud of that?
So,
like, yeah, bitch, you cry.
So she was crying on the leg extension.
Get up!
We did a finish on
Get
the
your
leg
ass
extension,
up.
right? Finish on the leg extension. But she was going so hard fighting through the reps. She's, through the reps, tears coming down. All I know is like 4 dudes came by, was giving her a round of applause.
Right, but in your mind, you was like, yeah.
I was like, get more, because she had more. She's one of them ridiculously strong people.
Ike Turner over here.
Right?
Yeah,
who don't even realize how strong they really are because they've never been pushed.
Bro, you make girls cry, though.
I don't care, bro. Georgie Porgy, bro.
Shut up! One more set. I don't care. I like
Georgie Porgy, bro.
last week. I was like, I can't do this anymore. It was like, and then I'm like, man, I feel like I'm going. Dave's like, can you do one more set? You're not gonna die. You'll be okay. I'm like, bro, I had heart surgery too. He was like, you'll be all right.
Fuck your heart surgery.
Go outside. Yeah, fuck your heart surgery. Go outside and get some air. Come back. But last week, for whatever reason, I don't know if it was because we were like. Jack, I think, gave you some kind of knee straps or something.
What it is?
I don't know what
it is this. We're approaching 20 weeks. In 2 weeks, it's 20 weeks out from the Masters Olympia. So the mindset is just starting to change. And and I noticed that I'm getting more locked in because as the intensity is going through the workout, like today, we're doing arms. A few weeks ago, we got to that superset at the end. I'm like, I got my client, I got to go. And now I'm like,
yeah, I noticed that.
We got to finish.
Yeah.
And not only we finish, we got to finish stronger than we started. And that's just the way I've always trained. And what I'm trying to do is when I feel something right now, like everything in me wanted to go 405, but I heard Kyle in my head go, it's not necessary. Just feel it. And I was like, all right, I'll stay at 365. But feeling that close grip, I could feel a little twinge in my shoulder. Right? Let me lock that scapula back a little bit and squeeze through it. And I just find myself wanting to push the intensity more and more and more. And I could feel it this morning. Like I got up, I was like, I can't fucking wait to train arms. And it's that level of aggression that's in me. Like, today, Andrew trained with you, you're like, just leave him alone. Because I get so focused and harnessed in that I get pissed off when anybody tries to break that. You remember? Like, I get in this mode, and it's just like a fucking animal comes out of me, and I'm like, I want to rip everything fucking apart in here. Like, I can feel it right now, even thinking about it. Like, I can't wait to train legs tomorrow. And that's just the way I feel.
Me too.
As I get locked
When
in.
you want to upgrade your partner, let me know. I got you covered,
Come
bro.
on, baby.
When you ready to upgrade him, let me
You
know.
don't understand the level of training I do, though. I don't like.
Nah, he trains super hard, man.
bro,
He trains
You must not know how I train.
That's fine.
Quit don't matter. I won't quit on. I'm not a.
Nah, he
I didn't quit. It's just that, like, the thing is with me, right? He's 266 or 366, whatever.
Yeah, I'll do it, but tomorrow we get in, right?
But
man,
the thing is, he's 266. I'm pushing up to 220, right, in weight size. But I'm neck and neck to what he's doing with the reps, with the weight. Whatever. There's very rarely where I'll say, take that off. I'm going to do like my elbows are kind of fried a little bit. So when we're benching or when we're doing close grip or anything that has to do with triceps, I'll take it down a notch. Everything else, I'm full throttle. Legs, for whatever reason, last week I was like, all right, I gotta catch up to this shit because, like now, tomorrow when it comes, there's not gonna be any complaining. There's not gonna be any like scaling down because of what I experienced. It was different for me, right or wrong. It was different for me last week.
Listen,
This week,
the truth is, on back day, I got to keep up with him. He's got a very strong back. His pulling motions are he got that leverage. That very long legs. He's 5'6" and got arms that touch his toes without even bending over. It's crazy. So he got all that leverage in the pulling. So he crushes me. I mean, he like I'm definitely 10-15% behind him when we're doing biceps for sure. Like he'll actually be like doing the weight I'm doing. Like, you gotta go up, man. You're stronger than me. You're stronger than me in biceps. Go ahead. Because there's no pride here. Like, I'm all about you. I want the best for you as I want the best for me. And, and that's important when you have a training partner. Like, do you have a trainer partner that's, like, excited because he can beat you in the ground every time? Or do you have a training partner that's really, like, trying to get you better as well as himself, And that's super important.
That's the thing. When we train, we don't even compete against who can do what, who can do better. There's no ego. We just train to get better and better day by day. And I know for me, when I'm done,
he'd be like, "Oh, fucker, can't do no 85." You fuck him up. You know what? Beat my ass on that bench.
How many times have I called you? How many times have I
short ass range of motion?
Nah, fuck that. How many times have I called you though? We had a conversation about this training. I was like, all right, Fred, you're doing the masters. We got to get focused. You got to do X, Y, Z.
Man,
so like,
I got no complaints.
And there's times where it excites me because like, all right, if I'm more dominant in this specific exercise, I know he's gonna catch up and crush it. Then when he crushes, I'm like, maybe I'll stay here or go up a little more. You know what I mean? I feed off of that energy. But again, it's not like keeping up with pride or keeping up with like, I want to be, because I know my lane. You know what I mean? There's times where I'm like, man, fuck that, I ain't doing that. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm like, I gotta go to work. You know what I'm saying? You should be on time when we start. He's like, I gotta get better, but have a good day. And I'm like, are we good? Have I done enough? But I know my body's done enough because this shit can't do anything else. You know what I'm saying? He probably can because his mind is there to be, great. And when he steps back on stage, there's, he's Fred Smalls. So Fred Smalls has to come back and be Fred fucking Smalls when he's on stage to do his thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's his thing.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I'm striving, but, and when you want to come and join us, you can,
Time is important to me, bro.
Yeah.
Time is important to me. Starting on time, make sure I can get to bed on time. That matters to me.
I don't even sleep. I don't even sleep, bro.
Because caffeine only does so much. So I need to make sure.
Fuck that. I'm still waiting for midnight to come so I can watch Avatar.
Bro. And I ain't got 3 hours. I ain't got 3 hours, bro.
Watching Avatar, bro.
But yeah, so shit like that matters to me. If we're gonna have a set schedule to train, well, let's train. We will not. Look, tick.
Yeah, I mean, here's my problem. I'm gonna tell you my problem right here. Client comes in today. He's supposed to be here at 10. Shows up at 10:30, 10:40. The problem with me is, I know what I'm trying to get out of this client, so I'm excited about training this client beyond what I should be sometimes. So I'm like, he's got arms today. I know what I want to do. I already got it mapped out in my head what we're going to do. So I want to do this shit with him. And then when he shows up late, I'm like, I know what I want to do with you. And I just got to, and it's like that craving. It's like the reason why I don't just pass off all my training to everybody else and then just focus on just getting more clients in, because I could do that. And we would probably grow faster. But I get so excited about seeing these people change and seeing these people accomplish things that it's like to a fault, to where it screws my schedule up, And it's like, trust me, I see guys all the time. The train, hours up, boom, okay, you need to go do this on your own because you were late, or you need to go do this on your own because I got this, but I got the next person. Like, I see it all the time, and I just can't do it. I'm not built that. It doesn't make me feel good. I don't feel good. Like, I saw a guy today, he got done training with the trainer, and he's over there doing chest presses. I'm like, didn't you just get done doing chest with your trainer? That means your trainer didn't give you enough, right? It means your trainer didn't make you feel like you're ready to leave.
Who's that?
And, So the point is, I ain't calling nobody out of love. You know what I mean? I love my trainers, but at the end of the day, you know, it's for me. If you can accomplish it on your own without me, then I didn't do my job. I didn't do my job. What I'm doing with you, when you walk out, you're like, shit, I need Fred. Because if you now, there's some people that go, fuck, that's not for me, I ain't doing it. But if you last through my shit and you stay, like Maggie sent me a picture today. This chick has never had big legs. Her legs are fucking growing. And she looked at me today and goes, oh yeah, you know, Fred, just throw it on. But her legs are growing for the first time in her life. And she's been training for 5 years. This is the first year she's picked me. Her legs are growing, finally. And the thing is, it's because I have a devotion to myself and what I'm doing that I'm like, when you walk in with me, you will not be able to accomplish it without me. That's what I'm bringing to the table. You ain't gonna be able to do it without me. And when you walk with somebody else, it ain't gonna be the same.
But what I'll tell you is this.
But
There are two things in history of the world that you can never get back.
time.
And what
Trust
you
me.
say. And that's it. And the time that you take away from the following person, and the following person, and the following person has a cascading effect. So that then becomes what you've created for your customers. You've created a sense of, I will always get pushed back.
Yeah, well,
That can happen, right? So
I mean,
so the
true.
other side of that is,
So the other side of it is,
you can tell the customer, Mr. Client, your scheduled time is X. I need you here by X because I have other people after you. And the same level of devotion you expect from me for you is the same thing they expect from me.
I'm not saying you're wrong. Trust me, I'm not saying you're wrong because I've dealt with this my entire career. And, you know, I probably could do, nah, you can't do more than 97 appointments a week. But anyway, that's a different story for a different day. But it's the same thing. I mean, you can definitely do it better, but I'm doing pretty fucking awesome. And the
No
thing
doubt.
is, the key is I give everybody the same.
Sure.
So I'm not shortcutting anybody.
Sure.
And it's not like you come in and if I'm running behind, it's not like you get there and feel like, man, he didn't even spend no time with me. You know, that's not going to happen, you know, and unless I'm dieting, because I've had people tell me, you didn't say 2 words to me, you just told me what to do and told me to get out. but no, I mean, like, it's a hard.
It's hard. No
you know,
doubt.
like, trust me, if I could be more stoic about it, less emotional about it, right? Like, if I could be less emotional, more stoic, I would probably do even better, right? Because I wouldn't get so emotionally invested.
Sure.
And because I'm so emotionally invested, that's why I can't ever leave a person walking out without giving them a full workout
No, I totally.
when they're later or whatever, you know. So I understand and I appreciate what you're saying, 100%.
Because it's like, you know, the hard part is that other people schedule behind that person. Because that person who throws off people that are behind,
Sure.
they have no respect for other people. They don't matter. So how is that? How do we balance? That's important
but
balance,
here's the
right?
problem, right? Okay, so I'll give you a perfect example. I got a woman that comes all the way from upstate New York to train with me.
Sure.
Inevitably, her train might be late. Might be late.
Yep.
So what do I do when she shows up? You just took a train 6 hours to come to me. I'm gonna tell you, sorry, your time's up. Sure, people will do that.
Or you tell her to wait until you're
I'm
open.
not built that.
No, you just tell her to wait until you're open.
There is no opening.
Okay.
I have no openings in my schedule.
Oh, there's your answer.
Like never, right? Like Rashad, am I lying? There is
No,
never an
I-
opening in my
I
schedule.
don't doubt it.
So that's not even a option. So what I've done is I always have I try and have 2 assistants with me all the time, and those assistants try and pick up my slack to try and keep me somewhat on time, right? But yeah, it's tough. I mean, but you know, like you take somebody like my client that I have at night, routinely every week, always late,
Yeah.
but he always pays way ahead. He refers people, and he gets results.
Sure.
So
I feel you. Look, I get it.
Yeah, nah, I get it coming from. I get it.
You know
I
what
get
I'm
both
saying?
sides. I mean, I totally get it.
trust me, I understand what you're saying. Though. I mean, I think you can win either way.
Absolutely.
You know, like you can obviously win because so if, you know, like when people say, well, you'd be more booked. It's not possible to be any more booked. I'm literally booked 60 sessions a week out for months right now. For months. So if I put somebody in, where I mess myself up is I don't like to say no.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like saying no. So when I got a client from way back in the day goes, Fred, I want to get back in with you. Like, it killed me. I had a client just reach out to me and go, I want to train legs with you. I tried to put her with one of my trainers. Like, oh, you're going to get a great workout with this one. She's like, I only want you. I'm like, I got nowhere to put you. Nowhere. And she's like, so you're really not going to train me? And I said, it's not that I don't want to train you. If you come in and start with her, I'm sure something will open up and I can train you. And she was just like, I have to consider my options. So it's like, do I think she'll still come in? I do. I think she'll still come in. But the point is, it killed me to tell her no. Mm-hmm. But I'm looking at my schedule going, I'm triple booked.
Yeah.
Every hour at night. Like, what am I going to do? Like, I can't take more. Like, the other day, I ended up with 5 people. I'm like, I don't feel good about that.
Right.
Because that's stressful as fuck. And inevitably, you're doing this. Okay, how can I make this session go a little, this person go a little faster? And I'm keeping a timer. It's taking me longer than 3 minutes to get to the next. You know what I mean? That's too stressful. No,
Sure.
3 is the max you can handle.
Facts.
And what?
So you do 5.
What?
You do 5.
I mean, I used to do 5. We did 5, right? We did 5, but it's not at that point. There's the law of diminishing return.
Yep.
Right? It's like, I don't even talk about personal because
That's
like
impersonal.
No, it's impersonal. But what I do like is when I do have stuff like that. You've seen it on Fridays. They'll all be congregated together, hanging out, laughing, joking. It becomes like a big team thing. Right, so you can create whatever atmosphere you want with the attitude. If I come in, I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," but if I don't apologize for it, and I'm like, "This is such and such," boom, boom, boom. Now they all competing against each other. Mm-hmm. Like, "Oh man, what did Fred do with you? Oh my God, I got legs today," and they're all talking about it, getting nervous together. You know, so I ain't gonna lie, I love that part of it. I love that part of it. You come in, everybody's in the office, it's fucking packed. You know, like, is this a barbershop or a fucking personal training studio? I love this shit, man. I love it. So, you know, but again, I think you can win either way. It's just how you want to run your business.
Facts.
You know, and for me, I've tried the other way, and I'm just not good at it.
Yeah.
I fail.
I get it.
Fail. So when you come to me and say, I need to be on time, Rashad, help. Help me. Please, help me. Nigga.
I don't think you're allowed to say that.
Yeah, you
You can't say that on YouTube?
Ninja.
I can't.
Ninja. Ninja.
You specifically. No, they changed the YouTube rules. You can cuss in it moderately.
Moderately, okay.
Moderately.
You see the Tony Hughes got taken off?
Yeah.
Yeah. I never watched him.
Oh,
Did you ever watch
Are
him?
they censoring people now?
They changed the
Sajili,
rules
Strength and Power,
twice.
Fuad, and the Goat Fitness. It's
Yo.
a black dude. He's pretty cool.
You gotta check him out. Does Nick Power piss you off? He
Yeah.
pisses me off.
So the thing about him, he would be hitting me up for like inside shit. I'm like, I don't know anything. Yeah, Billy Carlos? Yeah.
He pisses me off, man. Like when I hear him talk, I'm like, bro, you ain't never been on stage, and he's always like this. His conditioning's off. I'm like, bitch, the
Who's that
man
now?
is
Muscle Development?
fucking
He does
dying.
podcast.
But my thing is,
Is it
all he
muscle
does is
development,
though? No,
repost
that's
what you see on Instagram and talks about. It's
I
not
know.
like he put out
I
something
mean,
you
it's
can't say.
fucking genius because
Yeah, over 1 million
he's
subs.
got 1 million subs, right? But I'm thinking to myself, like, you don't even do this.
So
Right.
He literally started his channel just by being around bodybuilding since he was 12, and like you said, he regurgitates all the shit that he hears.
Yeah.
And is he an expert? Obviously, he's not, right? Because he didn't do the job. He didn't do it. However, I know plenty of women broadcasters who broadcast football who never played the game.
Yeah, I mean, no, I feel you.
You know what I mean?
I'm not
partial.
I just get irritated when he talks about the people I know.
Of course.
And I'm like he says to me, or he says on his podcast, I think Big Ramy could have looked better and been in better shape. What? What? And like when he had Hani and was doing the breakdown with Hani, I was loving it because Hani was schooling him, and I was like, this is great.
Yeah,
Like,
I saw it.
it drives me nuts, man.
I get it.
Drives me
I'm
nuts.
with you. I get it.
Oh my
The only
god.
thing about Chigilli that is funny because like I remember back when
Chigilli?
yeah,
I'm talking about
I
Nick
know,
Shenbaum.
but
Yeah.
Nick's a bad Walker all the time.
Yeah, now
And now he's like,
kissing
oh,
his ass.
I've been filming for so long.
Yeah.
You give him kudos recently past year.
Yeah. Well, you saw he was on their podcast.
He was their first one. He was their
The
first
Mouth
guest.
and the Mutant was on. He was on their podcast. He
Yeah.
was the first
Yeah.
guest, and he would say that Guy Sistorino said exactly what I feel, which is, you turned pro and did nothing with it. How the fuck do you have the credibility to talk so poorly about all these professional bodybuilders who are actually doing something with it? And he said he did it on purpose so that people would be angered and start to watch his channel. He purposely created a heel so that people would watch his channel. And damn it if it worked, right?
Yeah.
Listen, he has a niche with almost a
He
million
definitely
subs.
did shit bodybuilding, that's for sure.
But you know what? Is that a requirement? Do you have to have done something in bodybuilding to be able to talk about it intelligently?
No, true. That is true. But I agree with you 100%. But Conway says, like, when you personally know these individuals are competing, you actually personally have their number and you know them, and it's like bashing them, it's kind of like, damn, like,
Well,
do you even know what happened? They can't talk about, he'd be like, associated gear wasn't real. What are you talking wasn't real?
But
Like, you know what I'm saying? He'll say a little dumb shit. I'm like,
But here's
oh,
the thing. Part of it is going to be parts of speculation, right? But one thing about our sport is that it's not broadcasted, right? It ain't on ESPN.
No.
True.
I mean, if you go on ESPN and you can go any of your hosts,
They used to.
who's Mr. Olympia? That's what you get.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I was on the Channel 6 News one time. Do you remember that when they put me on Channel 6
Yeah,
News?
yeah.
And the broadcasters were like, what is this? Like, they were even confused because the editor or whoever makes the decisions for the stories, they wanted to see it. They
Right.
wanted it on there. Local guy and Arnold Brazil, all this kind of stuff. And just stuff that we hadn't seen from Delaware. And this was in
Right.
Philly. And I was amazed at how many people watched the news and were like, so yeah, like our sport would grow astronomically if they would actually put it on mainstream.
100%.
But the hard part is because of the other stuff,
Say it, PEDs.
the PEDs. That is the reason why.
It's just because we wear it, though. Because
Agreed.
you look at us and go, "There's no way you can do that naturally." Because you're going to tell me a football player goes through a car crash every week,
Exactly.
for 18 weeks, and they're not doing something to get
We know,
better.
Yeah.
we know that.
You
There's
know
no
if you're
way.
intelligent, you know.
100%.
But,
know.
but
And
it's not broadcasted that way. Like
No,
you said,
it's not. It's like,
True.
oh,
Like
my
I said,
God.
you wear it, right?
Right. and that's
I
the
know
difference.
personally, some form, NBA, NFL, whoever it is that I know who does your
Bruh,
coaching stuff.
I know for
Right.
a fact.
You
Right.
played in the league.
Listen, I know for a fact that every single top tier athlete in the league, 95% are not at it. It's not. It's like you said. It's not possible.
Not possible.
It's not possible to
You're
go through, like you
asking-
described, a car wreck weekly.
Yes, you're asking people to perform at the highest level against other people at the highest level, and you're asking them,
Nonstop.
and you're asking them. This is their career. They're providing life-changing. They're getting life-changing money.
Right.
You're telling me they're not going to take every advantage to try to win? Come on.
Listen,
You know, come on.
there are certain athletes
Yeah.
who are that 1 billionth, right? Like Serena Williams. They tested her the week after she had her baby.
Who?
Serena Williams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there are people who are just that.
But see, like tennis, right? Are they playing back-to-back weeks most of the time?
No.
Typically, no.
No.
Not
Okay.
that level.
So at least you can have a level of recovery.
Right.
Right? Like you can say intelligently, okay, I can plan out a schedule to recover. But if I'm playing basketball,
You're in
82
baseball.
games
82 games, or baseball.
in 3 months, or baseball 165 games.
Or, and you say football, the level of what's physicality.
Yeah, you're hitting 3 times a week.
That's like
Yeah.
involved with that. You're going,
Ain't no way.
there ain't no way you can recover. It's impossible. Especially at that level.
That's right.
And so everybody's going to do what they need to do. And the thing is, so maybe it's not testosterone.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's growth hormone. Maybe it's a peptide. But they're doing something. And just because you can't test for it doesn't mean you ain't doing something.
Bingo.
So, what do they say? What do pitchers take? Beta blockers, stuff like that. To slow everything down, stay calm. But, and so now you're saying what's allowed and what's not allowed.
That's right.
You know, so if
I'm
it's going to enhance the performance,
I'm libertarian when it comes to that. If you want to do it, have at it. Just codify it, let the FDA approve it, and be done. That way, there's no stigma, there's no nothing, there's no crap. Just you can buy stuff that you know is legit. You're not buying it from John Q.
and that way, I really do think that bodybuilding is so pure in that way because you know what you're doing. No one's hiding it. You know what you're getting into, and like if you decide to do it naturally, kudos, God bless you. Nothing wrong with that. But what if you want to compete at the best organization at the top level, what you're getting into, and everybody agrees to do it.
Yeah.
So there is no unfairness to it.
That's a fact.
Right? It's no unfairness, and I think that in itself is great. But man, the information you gave today was
Appreciate it. That was
greatly
awesome.
appreciated. It was
Appreciate it,
awesome.
appreciate it.
Got me talking in that realm. I love it.
Taught me some new shit.
Yeah,
Help me
right.
understand the game a little bit more, which is awesome.
Yeah, right. And again, with my co-host here, I hope you guys learned something. Don't forget about the Renaissance Transformation Contest. Click the link below so you can get involved in that. $79, an awesome fat burner coming your way, and a chance to win
2 tickets.
2 tickets.
To see Beyonce.
And not for nothing, you get to look a whole lot better. So
When you go see Beyonce.
check it out,
All right.
and we'll see you next week.
We train